You feel like there's something wrong with you. It's not guilt over something you did. It feels deeper than that. It's a gut feeling that you're just faulty somehow. Built wrong maybe. And you're convinced that if you let people see the real you, they'd turn and run. The strange part? You have no idea what you did to deserve feeling that way. And that's because you didn't do anything. But the feeling's real and it's got a name. It's called toxic shame. And here's the first thing I want you to know before we go any further. It is not the truth about you. It didn't even start with you. Someone handed it to you a long time ago. And today, I'll show you exactly how. First up, guilt and shame. We treat them like the same thing, but they're actually opposites. Guilt says I did something bad. Shame says I am something bad. Did versus am. And that little word is everything. One of them you can fix. You apologize, you sort it, and the feeling goes away. The other one you can't, because how do you apologize for just being you? That's shame. And toxic shame is just the same feeling turned all the way up and left running in the background for years with nothing you actually did attached to it. No event, no mistake, just this low hum of I'm not right that you can't switch off. Same feeling as last time. It just moved in and never left. So if you felt the I am the problem one and not the I did something bad one, do me a favor and comment the second one. I want to see how common this actually is, because I've got a feeling it's most of us. So where does it actually come from? This feeling that you're the faulty one. Well, no one's born with it. You learned it. And you mostly learned it young, from people who were meant to be showing you who you were. It's what happens when someone else's voice slowly becomes the voice in your own head. Picture the difference. A kid spills a drink. One parent goes, oops, grab a towel, no big deal. And the kid learns, okay, I made a mess. Messes get cleaned up. That's guilt, and that's healthy. Another kid spills the exact same drink and gets, what is wrong with you? Why are you so useless? You ruin everything. Now that kid isn't learning I made a mess. They're learning I am a mess. See the difference? The problem got moved off the thing they did and onto who they are. Do that enough times and it stops being something you hear and becomes something you believe. And it's not always a parent either. Think about being the kid who got picked on, left out, laughed at, year after year. A kid doesn't sit there and go, oh well, kids are just being cruel, that's on them. So the brain does the only thing it can with that much pain. It turns it inward. Must be me. Must be something about me they can all see. Same move, it's just coming from the playground instead of the kitchen. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be dramatic to do the damage. It's the eye roll every time you got excited about something. Being called too much or too sensitive or hard work. A parent who was warm when you did well and cold when you didn't. So you learned love was a thing you had to earn by performing. A kid can't go, oh, my mum's got some unresolved issues going on. A kid just goes, it must be me. Because believing it's your fault is somehow less scary than the alternative. What was the line you heard growing up? The one that stuck. Drop it below. Sometimes seeing it written down is the first time you realize it was never actually about you. Here's where it gets interesting. Because once shame's in there, you don't just walk around feeling bad. You build things to hide it. Shields. Ways to make sure nobody gets close enough to see the faulty bit you're sure is in there. And the strange part? These shields look like 4 completely different people. But it's the same wound underneath every single one of them. So see which one's yours. There's the perfectionist. You're quietly sure you're not enough, so you make sure nobody ever sees it. You overachieve. You tie your whole worth to the job, the money, keeping it all looking flawless. It looks like success, but it's actually panic. And the tell is feedback. Someone gives you one bit of gentle criticism and it flattens you way out of proportion. Because you don't hear, fix this one thing, you hear, I knew it. Because to you, the mistake and you are the same thing. Then there's the people pleaser. And this one runs on a quiet little belief that you're only allowed to be here if you're useful. So you can't say no. Because saying no feels dangerous. Like they'll go the second you're not easy to be around. So you say yes to everything. You cover for people. You put everyone else first until there's nothing left of you. So you say yes to everything. You cover for people. You put everyone else first until there's nothing left of you. And you shapeshift a bit, depending on who's in the room. Because the real you feels too risky to show. Half the time, you don't even know what you think anymore. The other one, and this is a common one, is the one who gets defensive. Because for some people, shame doesn't go quiet, it gets loud. You get something wrong and you just can't own it. You get defensive fast. It wasn't me, it was them. And it's not because you're a liar, it's because owning the mistake would mean you are the mistake, and that's unbearable. So if that's you, hear me. You're not a bad person. You're guarding a sore spot, and getting loud is just how you learn to cover it. And then there's the last one. And this is the one that overlaps with something I've talked about before. The disappearing act. You self-sabotage. You quit right before it goes well. You blow up the good relationship out of nowhere. You pull away from people at the exact moment you need them. You go quiet. You numb it out. Whatever turns that voice down. And the logic underneath, even if you've never said it out loud, it's this. If I don't really try and I don't let anyone in, then I can't fail and they can't leave. And if that one stung a bit, that's where shame and avoidant attachment overlap. And I've got a whole video on that. I'll link it below. 4 shields, 4 completely different looking people, all doing the exact same thing, hiding, making sure you never see the real one underneath, because every one of them got convinced the real them was the problem. And it never was. It was just a shield. And you can put a shield down once you know you're holding it. If you take one thing away, let it be this. That feeling that you're broken, like something's fundamentally wrong with you, it feels like the truest thing you know. It feels like a fact, but it isn't one. It's a belief you got handed before you were old enough to say no thanks. You picked it up off people who were probably carrying the exact same thing, passing it straight down the line without even meaning to. And here's the part that can actually start to change it. Shame only survives in the dark. It needs 3 things to stay alive: secrecy, silence, and someone to judge you. Brené Brown's the one who nailed this, and honestly, it's true. The second you say the thing out loud to just one person who goes, yeah, me too, it starts losing control. And you don't have to go and flash everything on the internet. You just need one person, a friend, someone you trust, who hears the worst thing you believe about yourself and doesn't flinch. That's the whole trick shame's been keeping from you. The thing it swears will make people run is the exact thing that sets you free. And in the meantime, talk to yourself the way you'd talk to them. Think about it. If your best friend failed at something, or got knocked back, or made an absolute idiot out of themselves, you'd never go, yeah, you're a worthless idiot. Of course you wouldn't. You'd be like, oh, that's rough, you're still amazing. So why is the voice in your head allowed to say the thing you'd never in a million years say to someone you love? Catch it doing that? And hand yourself the same line you'd give them. Because you are not a bad person who's good at hiding it. You're a good person who got taught to feel like a bad one. And a thing that was taught can be untaught. Slowly, sure, but it can. And the first crack in it is this: catching it. Catching that feeling and going, hang on, that's shame talking. That's not me, that's the wound. You were never the problem. You were a kid who got handed a story about yourself that was never true, and you've been carrying it ever since, thinking it was yours. It was never yours, and you get to put it down. So tell me below, which shield is yours? The perfectionist, the people pleaser, the defensive one, or the one who disappears? Be honest. I reckon most of us have got more than one. Watching how many people carry this exact same thing is the whole reason I make these. You're not the only one. You never were. And if this made something click for someone in your life, send it their way. They probably need to hear it too. Then go watch the avoidant one. Because if that fourth shield was you, that's the other half of this conversation.